Hey there. So I want to read to you The Girl with 500 Middle Names. This is by Margaret Peterson Haddix, and she'll be visiting us with us virtually March 8th. And so kind of interesting that there are 3 covers here, and I'm not sure why they did this, maybe to appeal to different people. We have this copy right here. So which is your favorite? Do you have a preference? So I don't know that I do. The words are exactly the same no matter what the cover looks like. All right, so don't look at me. I'll let you know when I have a picture. I'll share that with you. So just enjoy the book. There's only 12 chapters, less than 100 pages. We should read it pretty quickly. Chapter 1. Goodbye, broken chalkboard, I whispered. Goodbye, cracked floor. Cross-eyed Chrissy turned around and glared at me. Nobody's supposed to call her that, but everyone does, just not to her face. Chrissy had to go through first grade 2 times, so she's older and bigger than the rest of us third graders. Nobody messes with her, but it's hard not to stare at her eyes. They don't look in the same direction at the same time. At the beginning of last year, I asked her if she could teach me how to do that with my eyes. I thought it was a talent, like whistling or walking on your hands. Cross-eyed Chrissy looked at me, first with one eye and then the other, and then she spit right on my shoes. Everybody told me that I was lucky she didn't beat me up. And here we do have a picture here. You can see she is a little bit bigger. Now, I shrank down in my seat like I did every time Cross-eyed Chrissy turned around. What are you talking about? She growled. I reminded myself that I wouldn't see Chrissy ever again after today. I spoke up, bold as brass. I'm saying goodbye, I said. I'm going to a new school on Monday. Yeah? Chrissy said. Yeah, I said, suddenly too full of my news to keep it to myself. And it's nice. It doesn't have any broken windows at all. It's got carpet 3 inches thick in all of the classrooms, my mama says. And all the kids get to work on computers. And they have a reading corner in the library with fairy tale people painted on the wall. Chrissy squinted at me. One eye seemed to look off to where one of our classroom windows had been covered with plywood all year long. The other eye just showed white. It was a scary thing, Chrissy squinting. You're lying, she said, playing with the bottom part of her desk, where it came loose all the time. I made a tapping noise, like a drum. There ain't no schools like that. Children, our teacher, Mrs. Stockrun, said from behind her desk at the front. I should not be hearing any noises right now. Aren't you doing your worksheets? But she didn't even look up. I think she was reading a magazine. One of the boys blew a spitball at her desk. I am not lying, I told Chrissy. Cassandra from across the aisle looked over at us. She's telling the truth, she told Chrissy. I heard Mrs. Stockrun tell Mrs. Mungo during recess, someone's leaving. One less paper to grade, she said. I felt sad all of a sudden that Miss Stockrun wasn't going to miss me any more than that, but I wasn't going to miss her either. So, she's leaving, Chrissy said, like she didn't want to be proved wrong. That don't mean she's going someplace nice. Cassandra was turning a bad word someone had written on the top of her desk into a flower. It had 100 petals and the leaves dangling like ivy. It was the prettiest thing I'd ever seen drawn on a desk. Oh, she is. I heard that too, Cassandra said. She heard everything. Miss Stockrun said that she was going to the suburbs. Chrissy frowned, and I wondered if she had hit Cassandra for talking back to her. I just wanted to get out of this school without seeing another fight, but Chrissy was frowning at me. How? She asked. She was puzzled, not mad. You're just as poor as the rest of us. How are you going to go to a school like that? Sweaters, I said. Chapter 2. My mother works magic with yarn. I've been hearing people say that all of my life. Back when I was little, I thought it meant Mama could pull rabbits out of her hat, coins out of an ear. I'd watch her real close, hoping to see a trick. All I ever saw was knitting needles flashing through yarn. Every night, I fell asleep to the sound of knitting needles clicking in rhythm, a lullaby like no other kid's. Magic. Let's see another picture here, just with her mom knitting her sweaters. My mama can make sweaters, scarves, hats, slippers, socks, leg warmers, and anything else anyone might dream up out of yarn. She knits on the bus going to and from work. She knitted in the hospital that long winter we were waiting for Daddy's back to heal after he fell, building a skyscraper. She knits all the way other people breathe. She knits the way other people breathe. Wow, so just naturally. But I never thought that knitting had anything to do with school. And then one day last year, Mama picked up a book I'd gotten from the school library. "What are you learning in school nowadays, honey?" she asked. She started turning pages, and then she snorted as loudly as the horses I had seen at a petting zoo once. "Oh, come on. Men have too walked on the moon. When was this written?" She flipped the pages more quickly, and she shook her head. "Can you believe it? This book is older than I am." That was the beginning. Mama went and talked to the teacher. I had them. Mama was shaking when she came back home. "You cold, Mama?" I asked when she came in the door. It was raining outside and her shiny black raincoat was wet. Raindrops glistened in her hair where they had gotten past her umbrella. "No, I'm mad," Mama said. But she pressed her lips together like she wasn't going to tell me why. She went into the kitchen where Daddy was drinking coffee. I crept over close to the wall. I wasn't really eavesdropping, but I could hear her just fine. "That place is a wreck," Mama was complaining. "Broken chalkboards, broken sidewalks, broken windows, broken desks, even the crayons are broken. Last time I checked, kids could draw just as well with broken crayons as whole ones," Daddy drawled. "And the roof leaks," Mama went on, like she hadn't even heard. "The whole time I was talking to her teacher, there was this drip, drip, drip. Kids can learn in a building with the leaky roof. You just put out a pot or two, and the teacher keeps saying, 'She don't, and we don't, and we done,'" Mama said. "What's wrong with—" "Oh," Daddy said, "grammar." "If the teacher doesn't even talk right, how are the kids going to learn?" Mama asked. Daddy was silent, but I knew what he was doing. Ever since he hurt his back, he had to stretch every so often. He moves his back out from the chair and tilts his shoulder back and forth and makes an awful face, and then he pushes his elbow back toward the chair and sighs. I heard the sigh, and that meant he was done stretching. And then he said, "Oh, Brenda, not all our teachers were that great either back when we were in school, and we didn't exactly go to school in a castle." "And what kind of education did we get?" Mama asked. Daddy didn't answer. After a few minutes, Mama yelled out to me, "Janie, have you done your homework yet?" For days after that, it was like there was a secret war going on in our house. As soon as I left the room, I'd hear Mama start hissing to Daddy, "Did you see in the paper about the test scores down at Janie's school?" Or, I hear that there were 32 serious disciplinary problems this week at Janie's school." Or, "This says that the school board wants to fire the principal at Janie's school, but they can't find anyone willing to take his place." And then the war was over, and Mama was knitting more than ever. One morning when I was getting ready for school, I picked up a nearly finished sweater Mama had draped on the couch. It was pink Angora and light as a cloud. It was the kind of thing you could picture angels wearing. There were little purple flowers on the front along with the name Sarah knit right into the sweater. "Who's Sarah?" I asked. "Nobody we know, yet," Mama said, sweeping into the room. "But her mother or grandmother is going to pay $150 for that sweater at the specialty shop." "Huh?" I said. "You," Mama said, "are looking at an entrepreneur." I gave her a blank look. "I," she announced even more dramatically, "am starting my own business." She posed mockingly. She put her hands on her hips and tossed her hair over her shoulder. She raised her chin sassily. She looked kind of silly ever since she was still wearing slippers with her dressy work clothes. Daddy was laughing in the doorway to the kitchen. "Your mama thinks that when I get off disability, her sweaters are going to make it so we can pay to move to somewhere and you can go to a better school," he said. Mama stopped posing and shoved the sweater and a couple of skeins of yarn into her knitting bag. "I hope," she said. "That's what I'm praying for." She gave Daddy and me a kiss each, slipped on our shoes, and rushed out the door. Your mamma is quite a woman, Daddy said, shaking his head. For a whole year, Mamma knitted sweaters with strange names on the front. Ashley, Lee, Brittany, Courtney, Black, and Parker, Madison. That store she had found, the specialty shop, loved her. She started getting special orders right away. I'd hear her on the phone. They want Alexander and a choo-choo train on the front. Mamma would ask, how big is this kid? Size 2? She'd laugh. Do they think I'm magic? She was. Even Daddy wasn't laughing anymore. In September, right after I started third grade at Clyde Elementary with cross-eyed Chrissy and know-it-all Cassandra, I heard Daddy and Mama talking at the kitchen table. Mama was pointing at numbers. See, that's the security deposit, and this is the moving expenses, and this is the first month's rent. And after that, if I sell 2 or 3 sweaters a month, it'll be enough to cover the extra rent. And we'll still be able to pay on the debt from when you were in the hospital. Well, what if you don't sell 2 or 3 sweaters a month? Daddy asked. Then we'll cut a few corners somewhere else, Mama said. But I will. The sweaters are going great. Look how much I made in a year. Don't you see? This is something I'm good at. It's our chance. Janie's chance. Mama got quiet then. Dad. Mama got quiet then, waiting. Daddy was looking at the numbers. You're right, he said slowly. We can do it. Mama shrieked and gave him a hug, and then they started kissing, and I got out of there fast. But that's how I came to be saying goodbye to the broken chalkboard, cross-eyed Chrissy, Miss Stockman, and the rest of Clyde Elementary. We moved out over the weekend. Daddy's back was healed enough that he could carry a lot of furniture himself if he was careful. 2 of his friends came from work to help out. Mama and I carried boxes. I knew I was supposed to be happy, but I had a jumpy feeling in my stomach. Mama had talked so much about how I was getting out of my horrible school, it was like she kind of forgot to mention that we were leaving behind our house, too. I had never lived anywhere else. I liked our house. I liked how the stairs creaked when you step on them just the right way. I liked the porch that wrapped around the front. I liked the trees that dangled branches against my bedroom window. We were moving into an apartment. Brand new, Mama had told me a few weeks before. The drains won't clog, the windows will shut right, the furnace won't break in the middle of winter. But it won't be ours, I pouted. Mama had laughed. Oh, Janie, this house isn't ours either, you know. We'll just be paying rent to a different person. But our house feels like it's ours, I wanted to say. It thinks it's ours. But how could I say that? We were moving because of me. When everything was out of the house, I walked through the empty rooms, trailing my fingers against the walls. The kitchen looked naked without our old oak table smack in the middle of it. My bedroom looked like a stranger's room without my bed, my dresser, my pictures on the walls. Mama came and found me and gave me a hug. Oh, baby doll, I know it's hard. Be strong. We're doing the right thing. I watched Daddy's friends drive away all of our furniture, and then I got into the front seat of Daddy's pickup truck and waved goodbye to the whole neighborhood. Already, it didn't seem like we belonged. And one last picture here, just showing them seeing the moving truck head out. And those are the first 2 chapters. All right, I hope you're enjoying it.